Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day as always. You are here because you have purchased a front mount intercooler. Lucky for you, today's the day that I shoot another DIY tutorial video on how to install a front mount intercooler on B8.5 Audi. The CTS turbo front mount. The front mounts for these cars are all very similar. They each have their own cord. We've purchased a lot of parts from CTS. Figured that since their pancake valve PCV/catch can system works so well, we would want to give them a shot with their CTS turbo front mount intercooler kit. So let's get this thing open and see what we got and start getting it installed. Let's do that real quick. Hello everybody. Okay, so we're back. Last time we got everything unboxed, and I know there's a lot of parts here, and you guys are probably seeing 3 different boxes. Well, I got another how-to I'm doing right now also on how to install a grill on this car, along with solid slave cylinder, metal slave cylinder, and stainless steel slave cylinder line. But that's not why you're here. You're here for the CTS turbo front mount intercooler, or any front mount intercooler that of your choice. If you're new to this channel and you're new to my how-to videos, I want to give you a quick format rundown, and that's basically there'll be a time-lapse here portion for all the disassembly and for the removal. If you skip in about 1.5 to 2 minutes, you'll get a complete step-by-step walkthrough from POV on exactly what bolts to take out, where they go, what they come from, what size they are, etc, etc, etc. If you follow this video, you will 100% be able to get your front mount installed on your B8.5. So what do we do now? Well, I put my hand over the lens and we get started. So let's go. Guys, if you are new to this channel, please don't hesitate to smash that subscribe button if you love Volkswagens and Audis and Porsches and all things European, because that is all we do on this channel. We do DIYs, we do maintenance, we do drag racing things, drift racing things, autocrossing things. We build weird shit like this LSA powered Audi A6. Why? Because I can. And that's what we do. So smash that like button, smash that sub button, and continue enjoying this content. You got your hood open. First thing we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to take this entire front bumper cover off. So the easiest way to do this is to take both your front wheels off, and then you're gonna remove all the screws in this liner right here, and all of these ones up here. Same thing over there. And then there's also a big plastic tray that goes underneath there. You're gonna wanna go ahead and remove that plastic tray. Also, you've got a lot of little screws down here. These should all be T25s or T27s, I do believe. All right, so we got those liners out. It's not even completely out. It's only the front half of it, and we just fold it backwards. What we need to do now is there's a 10mm bolt here, and then there's another one up in there. Might be a little difficult for you to see. There, I do promise they're there. So what I'm going to use here is a little 10mm extension. I don't know about you guys, but some days I feel like I'm working on a Honda Civic when I'm doing this stuff. Should be another one right there. Yep, there it is. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's another 10mm bolt right up there, but you need to take that one off as well. And all you should have to do is just give it a little bit of pull, and that'll pop right off of there. Just leave that just like that for right now, and go do the other side of the car. So all 4 of these are a T30. Ooh, don't lose my bit, don't lose my bit. I'm trying to do this one-handed. So now that we got that off and we haven't lost anything, you need to take this bolt off here, and we need to get this one off here. We also need to disconnect the sensor that's right down here, which we'll do that once we kind of winsel the bumper cover forward. So let's get those off, and then we'll move down here to these bolts across the bottom. I hope this is a good angle for you guys. It's kind of difficult to see what I'm doing. All right, so that should be there. That should do that. That should move that corner. And, oh, don't forget your 10mm up in that corner there. For the record, now is a great time also to go ahead and disconnect your fog lights. The easiest way to disconnect your fog lights is to push up on your connector, push your button in, and then pull down. So push up, push your button, and pull down. It'll be the easiest way to get them off. They'll pop right out. If this little piece right here falls out, don't worry about it so much, as it's easy to put it back in later, and it just clips right in. It just slides right into there. Just slides right in like so, and that holds it, the bumper cover, and it actually grabs hopefully you guys can see this, it actually grabs this little bit of clip right here and holds it right there. So just set this off to the side. Now we got to move on to these bolts right down here. So let's get those off, shall we? There's 1, 2, and 3. Set those off to the side for a second. All right, now hopefully if I didn't miss anything, this should just slide right out of here. There's one side. There's that. All right, other than this piece right here, which I know I did. There's gonna be 3 T10s back here that you're just gonna wanna pop those out. They're really easy, just take them out like so. And then, boom, set our bumper cover off to the side. So just a little pro tip here. If you put your screws back in the holes, whoops, wrong hole, makes it really, really difficult to lose them. All right, guys, so we got the bumper cover off, as you can see, and it's pretty simple. Very, very straightforward. You got 3 bolts on this side, 3 down there, 3 over there, 4 across the top, 1 here, 1 here, 2 fog light connectors, and a home link module, or maybe a trunk latch, depending on what you got going on up here. So super easy to get off. Nothing very difficult. Definitely not nearly as bad as a B6, I feel like, or a C5. C5 is kind of a pita to get off. So let's move on, shall we? Front mount intercooler time. Before we can get too much farther, we got to get this piece off right here, which is super duper simple to get off. You want to pop these couple little clips off right here, take your horns off both sides, and just swing them off to the side. There's this wire right here for your ambient air temperature sensor, which you're just going to push forward, pull the clip, and oh, there we go. It might do that. I was trying to take it off with just the clip attached and leave this in there, but it didn't work that way. So then you're gonna move down here to these 2 13mm bolts. There's 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and you're just gonna drop them out the bottom. This entire crash beam is just gonna whoop right out the front. So let's get that done and keep moving forward. And we should just be able to, oh, there we go. Set that off to the side. All right, so hopefully you guys will be able to see this here, but now we need to take these plastics off, this one and this one, so that we can get this core out. There we go, there's one. All right, there we go. So do try to be careful. These are not really meant to be taken off multiple times. They're meant to be, I feel like, put in, and then when the car breaks, try to be careful taking them out. This one did break that ear right there. It's not the end of the world. It'll still go back in, but it does suck. So just know that. And just put it over there at the other one. All right, now that we have the bare core exposed, the actual bolt that holds it in is this T30 that's right there. And I believe there's another one on this side. Doesn't look like there is one on this side. So let's get some hose clamps off and then we'll get this thing off of there, okay? So all these hose clamps should be held on with a 7mm. The first one that you wanted to take off, or you can start on this side or you can start on that side, whichever you want, is the one that attaches to the turbo outlet. Most of the kits on the market all replace this entire piece of inlet. Some of them don't replace this charge pipe right here, which for whatever reason, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. But the kit we have replaces everything, so we're gonna take it all off. And we just give it a twist here and it should just slide right off that turbo muffler. While we're here right now, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and turbo muffler delete if you don't already have one. It's a fantastic upgrade. It makes a lot of really cool whooshy sounds and increases the performance and flow of your turbocharger. This one that I have on here is actually off of eBay. It was like 14 bucks. Now there's a lot of manufacturers out there who make all sorts of different ones. So if you want to do it, now's the time. Now you don't have to remove this one if you don't want to. You can leave it attached to the intercooler. I'm going to go ahead and remove it just because it's going to make my life a little bit easier down the road. So let's see if we can get it off. There we go. We're just going to set it off to the side for right now. So let's move over to that side now, shall we? Do the same thing again over here. Just going to loosen that bolt right there. You guys can't see it, that clamp. Now, I'm going to tell you, you might notice that there's a little bit of oil in there. That is a couple different things. It could be PCV blow-by. It could be a turbo seals that are starting to wear out. Or it could just be, I don't know what the third one is. But you might see a little bit of oil in your charge piping. It's not the end of the world if your car is not just smoking like crazy out the tailpipe. So just move on past it and let's get this next pipe off. All right, the next one you're going to want to remove is this piece right here. And once again, repeat the same process. And there's that oil I was talking about. So there's some low spots in your charge system, in the pressure pipes, charge pipes, boost pipes, whatever you want to call them. And occasionally they do gather a little bit of residual oil. It's not the end of the world. Just set it off to the side for right now. So the next clamp you're gonna want to remove this clamp here, and you're gonna want to go ahead and loosen that clamp right there. Now this charge pipe, section of charge pipe, you're not gonna remove yet, but you're gonna want to go ahead and get it all loose so that it's easy to take out. So let's get that one and that one done, and we can keep going forward. All right. Super easy. Just fish your hand in there. All right. Nice and loose. Nice and loose. All right. So before we go any farther now, you have to do this. You need to disconnect this map sensor right here. MAP, map. Manifold absolute pressure. Remember, push your connector in, pull the tab, and then pull back. And just set it off to the side. Don't forget to plug that in later. So after you got your manifold, your map sensor disconnected, you're gonna have to remove this section of charge pipe. So this section is gonna come off in one big lump sum. And we need to remove this 10mm, this 10mm, and then there's one 10mm tucked all the way back in there. Now you can if you need to, you can remove this noise box here and just set it off to the side. Don't worry about damaging it so much. It's quite literally connected to your charge piping. It just quiets everything down. So let's get that 10mm. Let's get that 10mm right there out, and these two tins, and you just need to pull this line right here out of the way. I'm not sure exactly how this happened, but I ended up taking a picture, so instead here's a quick lapse of how I took that out. All right. Oh, there we go. You gotta push that one down. And there we go, right out. Oh, yeah. You know, this would work great on a Honda Civic, I'm telling you. And there we go, that is the factory system. So you can tell instantly that this is gonna be a huge, huge difference. So you can see the difference instantly between the two. This one is much larger than this one is, and this one has a lot more surface area for the air to cross over. Now this is gonna give you a little bit of boost lag. Now by a little bit, I'm talking like maybe a half a second. But not anything substantial that I would personally be concerned with, especially as this intercooler is capable of 600 horsepower, probably twice as efficient as this one is without a problem. But let's get this thing installed now and move on to the next step right now. All right, so in order to get this intercooler system all in, we first got to take this map sensor off of the charge pipe, or the lower charge pipe. I'm not sure what they call this, but we need to take this sensor off right here, and that's going to use what looks to be like two T20s, I believe. We'll find out real quick. And we're going to have to install it on the supplied charge pipe. Now they do give us new hardware for that, so that's quite awesome. I think they're predicting that you might ruin those. So let's get those off and get it installed here, and then we'll put it into the car. Let's get these two bolts off here. And now we just need to install that one on this pipe right here, and we should be good. Went ahead and got this whole thing mocked up in here. It's by no means in its permanent location. I don't know what this is. This is kind of bugging me a little bit here. I don't understand why these brackets are this way. I think that's kind of very odd. Something else I don't like, but I did notice this. I don't know why this is the way it is, but it is. And I gotta figure out something to address it with. But I've noticed that hole right there for the map sensor, it lines up perfectly. But boy, is it way too big. So I'm gonna dig through the box here a little bit more and see if maybe there's some sort of adapter I should be using, but that does not fit in that hole one bit. So. Yep, right there. That's what I thought. There's a massive O-ring in it. So I'm willing to bet dimes of dollars I'm supposed to swap that O-ring. I'm gonna say this. This is the problem with some of these manufacturers. It's not that I'm upset by the manufacturer one bit, because so far quality has been on point. I've had a lot of good experience with CTS, and I will continue to recommend CTS. But guys, can we get a little bit better instructions on how-tos? Actually, no, that's a lie. Don't give me better instructions on how-tos, because this gives me an opportunity to make quality uploads for viewers just like the ones who are watching this right now. So the map sensor, right? Well, there's a little green O-ring that sits right there from the factory. That O-ring has to come off, and I found this O-ring in there. And what I noticed was that if you put the O-ring on the ledge that sits there, it doesn't fit even inside that hole very well. But if you pull the O-ring all the way down to the very bottom, it fits a lot better in there, and it's gonna have a bit of compression to that seal to help keep back boosty boys. So just something to keep in mind, you know, that you might need to do that. Okay, so the problem was originally with this is that with these over here and on that side, there's nothing to actually mount it to. Once again, I don't know if this was like a university, I just don't know what might have been the reason for why it was made that way. But when you looked online, there was no intercooler that had similar that I could find. So I don't know what happened. here nor there. Long story short, I just trimmed those ears off and I re-welded them on here, and we're gonna mount this because there was another intercooler that was very similar and it had ears off of it like this one, and they just ran the same bolts, which I have the bolts that they showed in the image, and they ran them straight through the core. So I need to trim this back a little bit so I can bring the front mount farther forward so I have clearance for everything on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off real quick, and this one off, and re-drill a new hole, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this thing mounted up. So let's get to it, shall we? Got our hardware up there. All right, so I drilled some holes here and one there, and then I ran it, you know, all the way through on both sides there. So we should just be able to drop this sucker right down in there like that, and then put your hardware all the way through. All right, there's that. Find the bottom. Oh, how much threads? Oh, we got plenty of threads. Yeah, that's gonna work perfect. We got a good clearance in the front. We got plenty of clearance in the back, so we don't got to worry about the intercooler rubbing up against the heat exchanger. Heat exchanger shit. We don't got to worry about the intercooler rubbing up against the AC condenser, and vice versa. We don't have to worry about it rubbing up against the back crash beam. So, oh, it's starting to look like a car again. So let's get this all sealed up nice and tight. Let's get it mounted, and then we will start to final fit all of our intercooler piping. So, just another bit of the puzzle and continue the process. So I'm gonna cut to a short lapse here, and I will cut back in like I normally do to give you guys a quick tidbit of how this works. So let's go. All right, well, now that you got your front mount completely installed, guys, there is nothing left to... Before we go, let's start it real quick. Just for humor's sakes, I want to start it. Wow. Look at that. Guys, I'm gonna call that a successful one. We have installed the CTS front mount intercooler on our B8 A4, not S4. Man, she looks so good. I don't know if you guys, how well you guys can see it, but it's aggressive, but just not, it's not over the top, you know. I don't know if I would necessarily like the look of an intercooler from here to here. Like this just, I like this. This works really, really well. Plus, this setup allows for a decent amount of air to still get over the AC condenser and the upper part of the radiator, because this is like another, I think they call this a low pressure zone, so like air gets sucked up in there. So I'm really, this is more like oversized OEM to the next extreme, and I'm loving it. I think it looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get the tune on it in like 2 weeks time, and we really see how this thing rolls out. Guys, until next time, that's all that I have. And if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button for me. And if you want to see more content similar to this and modifying B8s and B8s and B6s and C5s, smash that subscribe button, and I will try not to let you down. Well, until next time, peace. I'm outie.